Good morning, team. How are you doing?
Very well.
For the 100th time, thank God it's Friday. and I mean it from the bottom of my soul today. It's been a long week, but a good week, and hopefully have some good stories to end the week. Good morning, Nigeria. I always say that TVC has a finger on the pulse and our eyes constantly on the street. And if it's a trending story, we are going to bring it on here and have some hopefully interesting and educative dialogue about these stories. In our first story, a casual coffee hangout in Wuse to Abuja has turned into a hot topic online after Peter Obi's response to a bold question drew mixed reactions. Now, the former presidential candidate attended a youth-led event hosted by a community called the K Hikers Club, where young Nigerians engaged him directly on national issues. Now, one attendee who was not an obedient and was unafraid to challenge the status quo asked Obi how he intended to fix Nigeria's complex problems when he hasn't even resolved the internal rift within his own party, the Labour Party. This is what Peter Obi has to say.
If you cannot fix the problem in the Labour Party, how do you intend to fix the problem in Nigeria?
Thank you, Obina. Let me tell you. Obina, there's a difference between what is happening in Labour Party today is caused by government deliberately. Not me anyway. Obina, what is happening in Labour Party and PDP is caused by government. Yes. We have had a problem in our party before in the past. And Yaradua was president. And I came to him and he told the then INEC chairman, I don't want problem in any party. And we were forced.
Now, as usual, in typical manner, he was calm and humble and willing to engage. But some people online felt that his response lacked weight and clarity, while others applauded him for showing up and engaging the youth and facing tough questions head on. But it begs the question, is political credibility built only on national plans or also on how leaders manage their own internal crises? I think oftentimes when we make a leader a messiah, we expect him to constantly be quoting scripture and fire out of his mouth. That was his answer, and that should be enough, I guess. Let's take a look at social media. At Dr. Gaza Kure says, his responses are not deep. He didn't address the Labour Party crisis. Some people are also saying that he shared responsibility. He's saying the Labour Party crisis is not my fault, it's the fault of the government. People were saying that a good leader takes responsibility. Tokbe M. Aziz says, LOL, let's even assume he is right. But as a president, he will experience a lot of sabotages, both within and outside his government. How does he intend to tackle that? Interesting. In our next story, the federal government has filed a lawsuit against Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan, accusing her of making defamatory claims during a live television interview. The suit that was filed earlier this month before an FCT High Court names her as the sole defendant. And at the heart of the case are explosive allegations made by the senator, including claims that the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi Governor Yaya Bello plotted to assassinate her. She also reportedly linked Akpabio to the death of a young woman in Niobongo Moren in a private conversation that has now surfaced as part of this case. The government is arguing that her statements were not only false, but knowingly harmful to the reputations of others. But most interestingly, both Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Yaya Bello are expected to testify during the trial. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the charge, and no date has been fixed yet for her arraignment. This is what you call a political basketball. They are all going to courts. Everybody is fighting. But wouldn't that be a sight to see? Yaya Bello and Godswill Akpabio testifying in court against this woman. Hell hath no fury. Like a woman scored. We'll see how this plays out. Let's take a look at social media. At King Easy says, the federal government just wants to stain their white. There's no need for them to involve themselves in this. Now it shows what she said might have actually happened. We'll take another tweet. Eureka says, Natasha should forget the Senate and politics. Let her begin to learn hairdressing and boutique business. You're wrong for that. In our next story, the Canadian High Commission in Nigeria has honored EFCC Chairman Ola Olukorede with a certificate of recognition, praising his role in the global fight against transnational crimes such as financial fraud, vehicle trafficking, trafficking, online exploitation, and drug smuggling. The award was presented by Canada's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Pascal Salvaggio, during a ceremony at the High Commission in Abuja. Salvaggio commended Olukoyede's leadership and the EFCC's growing impact in tackling cross-border criminal networks. But back home, of course, the reaction has been more muted. Many Nigerians remain critical of the EFCC, citing concerns over its tactics, transparency, and the perception that the agency sometimes targets citizens unfairly. Now, Olukoyede was very grateful, and he reaffirmed that the EFCC is constantly committed to international collaboration. But public trust in the EFCC, of course, continues to be a work in progress on ground. Now, while this international commendation is recognizable, credibility, I believe, begins at home. Until everyday Nigerians begin to trust the agency and see them as a safe place, these praises might ring hollow, unfortunately. But we saw the FCC did inspect those seized housing units. On the other hand, there's a bill that's about to pass second reading, where they want a central agency to manage assets of organizations, institutions like the EFCC. It's a double-edged sword. Let's take a look at social media. Atmecha Okoronko says, "This is nonsense. We need looters in jail before I agree with this mediocrity." Oof. And Dari says, "Canada said nice work. Meanwhile, Nigerians are still asking, what work?" Team, this is very interesting. Can you picture that Akpabio taking the stand against Natasha? Yaya Bello also has one enemy.
You see, I wanted to leave this Natasha thing to Vero.
Why?
You know,
what did happen?
No, when you talk about it, you talk about it with a level of passion that I really enjoy.
Oh,
let us look at Peter Obi and his response. Peter Obi showed, to a great extent, some courage because his party is crumbling. You know, things are not moving well with him, and yet he accepted an invitation to an event where that's organized by young people. I mean, those kind of questions would definitely come, but he went and he tried his best to answer the questions, taking everything, the whole circumstance into consideration. You know, so let's give that to him. We're talking earlier on about a leader showing courage. That's an example of it. Natasha, for her, the only thing I will say is that this is the time where we'll see if she actually has evidence, you know, to show. And I'll leave the rest to Vero.
Anyway, I want to start by commending the EFCC chair on receiving that commendation from the Canadian, from Canada. I think that he has done well for himself. Kudos to him. If Nigerians don't recognize your effort and others from outside the country recognize what you are doing, kudos to you. It means you are doing something right. And that's why they have come to say, well done. And so keep up the good work, tighten the loose ends, and let Nigerians begin to trust all that your commission is doing. For Natasha, I don't know what that day would look like in court, because this is a day that I believe that former governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, have been looking forward to. An opportunity where he can say, you know what, I got back at you, because they have a history. When you look at the election in Kogi State some years ago, he actually gave her a tough time, and she was speaking, you know, and he too was speaking and acting in certain ways that Nigerians were not happy with. And so right now it will be like, okay, this is my time to get back at you. They are from the same constituency. I'll see how they want to handle it. If the elders of the state will step in, or he will just give his own side of the story. But I hope that she takes advantage of this opportunity to bring that evidence that she has. And then to the next story of Peter Obi, I kind of differ from Etoma on the matter of Peter Obi showing courage. He did not answer the question from that video that was shown. He was asked questions, and you are blaming the government for the issues going on in your party. How?
Yeah,
I mean, you shouldn't. If he showed up, it's because he has to show up for these kinds of things, for these kinds of events. You were invited, and so you can go. But then answering the question is the major issue where I would know that you are showing courage is not by you being present. If you answer the question head on without passing the buck to others, then I would say, yes, you are being courageous. Look inward into your party and tell yourself the truth. What really is going on? Why are people being swayed easily? How are the government just coming without you opening the door? You should sit and think.
So, just like you waiting to see, what is going to happen, at the court of law, I am also going to buy popcorn, sit back, and see what's going to happen.
A 3 in 1.
Because one thing is, Natasha had come out, to lay different allegations, against everybody, virtually everyone she's faced with, even the one that she had to withdraw. That's talking about random mockery. But she had failed to bring out any iota of evidence rather than just writing up, emotions, sentiments, from the G and H that she referred them as. They're talking about gullible and hungry. She used the word according to one Professor Sandra Duru or Professor Igbeke on Facebook, calling Natasha, saying that she called her, asking her to join her in fighting Senate presidents and so on and so forth. And she has been saying that she doesn't have evidence and everything she's done is out of it. So until they get to court, we'll see what the court is going to rule at the end of the day. But talk about Peter Obi, it's fine. It's always okay to lay the blames on another person's table and say, yeah, it is not our fault and all of that. But the question is, which you should have answered, is that you need to take responsibility of a party that you once led. So it means that if you were the president of Nigeria and there is an external factor causing a problem in your country, you keep blaming external factor without finding a lasting solution. Look at Labour Party. Everyone is now fighting for the head, the hand, the legs, piecing it apart. Come on, we need to see leadership. And that's what you should show.
Thank you so much. I just hope a certain somebody doesn't dig up the road to the courthouse to stop Natasha from getting there.
I heard you.
In our next story, a Nigerian man recently returned from abroad has accused the United Bank for Africa of illegally clearing 150 million naira from his account, all based on claims that he was dead. In a now viral video call with human rights activist Gwamnishu Harrison, the unnamed returnee said the shocking incident happened in 2023 while he was still living overseas. He'd been saving consistently, making deposits multiple times a year, only to return and find his account wiped clean. This is what he had to say.
2023, now that move all the money. Say I don't die. Person don't come claim the money.
Who can don't tell you who can claim the money now?
Now what me as I can't say me they print the account when the money enter. May they give me the name who take the money. They say yeah, I they put minimum.
Yes.
I they put maybe 4 to 5 times for the bank. If person don't die, who consider put money for the bank? If person, for example, when I say me don't die, who consider they even accept the money is there? But someone came to claim that I'm dead. I've took the money.
They will provide who claimed that you are dead. Who provided before they can claim or before they can come to bank.
What's even more troubling is he says that bank staff told him that his funds were withdrawn by people who claimed he had died and had already been buried. When he showed up to demand answers, police were allegedly waiting to arrest him for causing a scene at the bank. Not only is this theft, it is procedural misconduct and it is a violation of due diligence requirements that every bank must put into place. If the bank doesn't handle this, he has a right to escalate it all the way to the Central Bank of Nigeria. And if that doesn't work, he can go to the Council for Consumer Protection. This is unacceptable. This just shows how vulnerable Nigerians in diaspora are. This sort of behavior reminds them why they left Nigeria in the first place. Let's take a look at social media. This is so sad. His life savings. At King Treasure's house says, the closest to the truth is that someone from inside the bank claimed that money. We'll take another tweet. At Mati Bank says, the criminality ongoing in Nigerian banks is underestimated. Put your money in Tether and leave it in a non-custodial wallet. Your USDT or BTC won't move an inch from your wallet, even if it stays there for 30 years. Thank you so much for this financial advice. I did not know that. This is unfortunate, truly. In our next story, the Igbo apprenticeship system known as Nwa Boy is a centuries-old model where young men are mentored by established traders or business owners. After years of hands-on training and loyalty, they are usually settled with capital to start their own ventures. Well, a small protest erupted in the Onitsha electronics market yesterday after a business owner reportedly refused to settle his Nwa boy apprentice following years of dedicated service, 7 years to be precise. Now, according to reports, the business owner allegedly offered just ₦1 million to his apprentice. This is a figure that many in the market considered insulting and exploitative, and they stood in protest and solidarity with this young man. It caused a ruckus. This is solidarity at its finest. I think that we have a problem imbibing the culture of fair compensation in Nigeria, from domestic staff to people like this apprentice. We struggle to pay people what they are worth, down to even the healthcare system. We struggle to pay our doctors what they are worth. We need to compensate people fairly. Let's take some social media perspectives. At King Davy says, some of these boys steal from their bosses, but agreement is agreement. Exactly. A verbal contract is still legally binding, although it's hard to prove that a verbal agreement has been made in a court of law. Paul Positive says, Ndigbo should form a body that regulates the activities of these orgas. They've used a lot of young people. Before I hand over to the team, I'd like you guys to please tag us with the hashtag TrendingNowTVC on any social media platform. I promise that we are listening, and I look forward to hearing your interesting perspectives. Team, you come back from Canada only to find that your money is gone. Isn't that absolutely unacceptable? What message are we sending to Nigerians in diaspora?
I don't know why institutions that have a name, they have a brand to protect, would want to come up with flimsy excuses when things like this happen. People that came and withdrew the money said you are dead. I believe banks have a protocol in that kind of situation, and one of them is for you to make the death certificate available. And even when they bring the death certificate, they take it for authentication before they can even do whatever transaction you asked them to do. UBA has a very big load to carry, and I hope they do it the right way and then clear their names. For the Ndi boy thing, it is something that has been on for so many years, long before I was born. It has always been there, and in those days, we didn't have incidences like this, but recently, we're beginning to have so many of it. So as you said, the market union or the council of elders should wade into this thing and have a way of ensuring that 7 years of a boy's life is not wasted.
Right. In fact, it's so sad. How do you even do that? Where's your conscience? That's the question I want to ask this person. If he was your son, or your son went to do one boy with someone and they settled him with ₦1 million after 7 years, would you be happy? Why take advantage of someone's life like this? It's sad how we do these things to ourselves. Man's inhumanity to man, yet we will sit in one corner and be shouting, government did this, government did that. Meanwhile, in your little corner, where you are in charge, where you are your own government, you are maltreating people, you are taking advantage of people. You should be arrested. That's what it should be. Whoever, the council of elders, the people in that market should arrest this man. I don't know what they can do to ensure they get justice at the end of the day for this boy. Absolutely. And then for the other story, talking about the guy that came from Canada, did you engage the protocol of the bank to getting sure you get the right information? That's even my question, because one random person cannot just give you one information and you just take it hook, line, and sinker. Send emails, look for the managers of the bank, do the needful, do due diligence to get your monies back, your life savings for all the while since 2023, and you are just being told that some persons came and said you were dead. Who are the persons that said, who were the persons that came and said, and they were told that, and the bank were told you were dead? You should get all this information before coming on social media.
There is a Latin word, ora audi partem, always hear from the second party. Which is what you've called for. And I think the bank has a lot of questions to answer and a lot of clearing for its name to do. So no bank wants to get into the problem of bad reputation so as to it affecting their customers not to trust the banking sector, even though there's so much left to be desired, for the banking institutions across the nation or even across the world. So I feel the guy should and continue to engage. This will generate reactions from social media. It has actually generated it. That's why we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
And I feel that the best thing should be done so that, we continue to build trust in our institutions and our society. The other issue of, what was that story?
One boy.
Yes, the one boy.
Quickly.
It's a contract. Yeah. It's a contract. And you must respect the contract. You must honor that side of your own agreement. So it is one thing if you feel that you can do anything and then no one will ask you questions. What about God? God is going to ask you that question.
That's it.
And then we should make sure we regulate this so that it doesn't lead to trafficking. Because you're one and all of that. We should regulate it properly so that we respect our own contracts.
Thank you, Olamide, for those stories. I believe that the message has been sent. But this is where we have to close today's program. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, tomorrow is another set of persons that will continue this program. There's still breakfast show for Saturday. But up next is Your View with the Ladies, and afterwards is This Morning with Yori Folari. Do stay safe. Bye for now. Do not drink and drive. Do not do what God will not be happy with you for. Bye.